Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend John Campbell, and I serve as the Director of Development at Acadia Divinity College, here on the historic campus of Acadia University, where we, as Baptist people, have been preparing Christians to serve the Lord since 1838. And I'm honored to have been asked by the African United Baptist Association and our Canadian Baptist of Atlantic Canada family to share a story of a hidden figure. So today I want to share and celebrate with you the story of Mr. Yates Hamilton. Yates was born in 1838, the same year that Acadia was founded. His parents, Samuel and Betsy Hamilton, raised him in Parsboro, Nova Scotia, where Samuel worked as a general laborer. Yates had been married, had a son, and then was widowed. And he moves to Wolfville, Nova Scotia, where he's remarried at the Wolfville Baptist Church. And so in 1882, at the age of 44, Yates becomes the janitor of Acadia University, just as they opened the newly rebuilt University Hall following a fire that had destroyed it a few short years before. Yates becomes the first black employee of the university. Hired by President Reverend Artemus Sawyer, Yates worked closely with and reported directly to the president. He took care of the buildings and the grounds. He swept the floors and shoveled the coal into the classroom stoves and tended the gardens and looked after the animals. The work was not easy, nor was his treatment. The female students mocked him by nicknaming him Snowball, while the men who had more interaction with Yates took to calling him Uncle Ham, a slightly friendlier but still racially charged name. Despite the difficulties, Yates earns the respect of the president and the student body through his hard work and caring heart. One student later recalled that after they had won a football game against Dalhousie, Yates had gathered a basket of apples for the players as a reward. They saw it as an act of kindness to them. In 1885, 3 years after starting at Acadia, Yates's niece Lelia Halfkenny, who was born in Sackville, New Brunswick and raised in Dorchester, is admitted into the women's seminary at Acadia University. Now, while no records confirm exactly how it happened, it's very likely that Yates played a part in having her admitted to the school through his relationship with the president. He takes Lelia into his house and boards her and helps to pay her $200 tuition fees on a salary of about $10 a week. And so Lelia becomes the first woman of color to attend an institution of higher learning in Eastern Canada, one of the first in the entire country. She becomes the first Afro-Nova Scotian to attend any institution of higher learning, and she excels in her studies and graduates in 1889 and goes on to become a teacher in the United States. Well, 5 years later, Yates is thinking about retirement. The school is growing, and they want to have someone trained before Yates is gone. And so a young Afro-Nova Scotian man is hired to work with and be mentored by Yates. Mr. William Oliver becomes the new custodian and takes over when Yates eventually retires. Years go by, and William's son Clifford takes over from him as the custodian. And then many years later, in 1930, Clifford's son enrolls at Acadia University, where he earns his Bachelor of Arts and his Bachelor of Divinity. And we know that man today as the Reverend Dr. William P. Oliver, one of Canada's greatest advocates for equality and justice. And so, in 1892, Yates retires from Acadia at the same time that the President Sawyer does. Yates remarries, becomes a shopkeeper in Halifax, where he remains until his death on July 27th, 1912, at the age of 68. His final resting place is the Fairview Lawn Cemetery in Halifax. And so this is the story of Yates Hamilton, a hidden figure who made a significant contribution, a man who took what was in his hand, a broom, a coal shovel, and used it in place where he was called to open the doors for others. His legacy is not simply the care of our campus, but the empowerment of people. He played a part in making a way for others to have access to education who became leaders among us. People like Lelia Halfkenny and Edwin Borden and William White and William Oliver and Marion Skinner and many, many more. And we think about the countless lives that these leaders have impacted, whose effects are felt even to today. And so we trace our history to this hidden figure, a janitor on the campus of Acadia University, a man named Mr. Yates Hamilton.